I got the screenplay and was deeply attracted to the subject matter and the significance of it. And it just was one of those scripts. I don't know what happens. Sometimes you get a script that has a little voice in it as it's sitting on your desk going, "Do me," you know. And this was one of those projects. But in fact, my daughter alerted me then to the novel because she saw the script on my desk and said, "Dad, The Book Thief, are they doing a film about that?" And I said, "Yes, they're offering me a role." And she said, "Are you going to play Death?" You know, because everyone in my house is a casting director, you know. They know my repertoire, they know my tendencies. And I said, "No, it's this really beautiful role." So she told me that all her friends had read the book when they were in year 10, because it did by default, without intention, become a young adult lit phenomenon. And I thought that was remarkable for this subject matter. And she said, "You know, this book, oh my God," because that's what most teenage girls start their sentences with. She said, "This book changed my life." And I was deeply impressed that she'd used the word book in a sentence. But the fact that they changed their lives, and I wondered what the alchemy was in this story that would make it so potent for an audience.
I actually read the book a month ago, so the book was really useless when I was shooting. I just based myself on the script, well, because I had nothing else. No, but I really loved the book, but it was a bit, you know, it was different because I've already seen the movie at that point. So when I'd read the book, I would kind of read myself. Well, not myself, but, you know, I would see myself as Liesel, or I'd see Geoffrey as Hans, and then I would sort of read a documentary of the whole shooting. But I still think it's a huge, and it's a fantastic book. But like I've learned, the next time, if ever I do a movie based on a book, I'll still read the book before starting to shoot. Your turn.
A unique postmodern child. Her photo's on the cover of the book. I mean, you know. When I was that age, I was getting up in front of the class in year 8, strumming a tennis racket, miming to the Beatles. But anyway, the book was my Bible. It was a great reference manual, you know, because in the script, and I think it's a terrific adaptation, and I hope the fan base are not upset or disappointed, because they haven't messed it up by changing the ending or merging characters. It's a pretty good compression of 580 pages into 100. And the bulk of the narrative is in very, very good shape. So I had lots of yellow post-it notes all through the novel that referenced those particular scenes that were in the film, because Hans is not a particularly verbose character. I might only have 3 or 4 lines in a 3 or 4 page script scene, but I could always go to the novel and find 20 pages of interior monologue and great metaphors and colorful language that would give you something else to bounce off, and that was really wonderful.
You're working with 2 people who are very distinguished, Emmy winner, Oscar winner, and Emmy winner, and Tony winner, and on and on. And you have, I imagine that even if you haven't yet had a chance to catch up with all the great things that these guys have done, you know that they're pretty big deals. Was it intimidating to go to work with people like this at the beginning?
I have to say, the first day I thought I was shooting with Emma Watson. And I got really happy. And I was like, my first big movie, I'm playing with Emma Watson. And then they said it was Emily Watson, and I didn't know who she was. But then I watched War Horses, and she was really fantastic. And sorry, but I had no idea who he was either. And even now, if my friends are going to come and say, "So who are you playing with?" I'll go, "Geoffrey Rush." And I'll say, "Who's that?" And I'll say, "Well, he's Captain Barbossa in Pirates of the Caribbean." It's like, the guy in Pirates, because they only know that. Um, but I've heard that apparently he was a good actor. But then I watched The Shine, and obviously his performance really blew me away, and I thought he was fantastic, and he did a phenomenal job in that.
I think the important thing and the most difficult thing is to find somebody who's right to play that character at that age. I think one that perhaps helped me get this film was I did a short around about 2001 or whatever, which is called About a Girl, which I got my first BAFTA for, and that was with a 13-year-old girl. And I think that sort of helped, because the idea is really, Sophie's remarkable in just the amount of technique she's got, but normally kids at that age don't have an awful, because they haven't had the life experience to learn the technique, to know, to hit the marks, to all that spatial awareness. And so it's a case of finding someone who's as close to, in this case, lethal, as we possibly could. And, we had a huge search, and it probably seen about 1,000 across the world, in 3 continents, 1,000 different people sort of taped or came in for auditions. And I find that, if we choose the right person, then if we've got someone who's got enough character, then it makes my job a lot easier. It really allows me just to sort of to set them free and to guide them through what we're trying to do. I think it makes for a more real and a more natural performance.
I wouldn't dare paternalize or choose to mentor someone from whom I knew I was going to learn a tremendous amount, because I tend to be, I suppose, from a theatrical background, I feel myself, Sophie's one of those people who, and I've seen it in older actresses that I've had the pleasure of working with, whether it's Kate Blanchett or Kate Winslet or whoever, they draw the camera into them and let the camera see the internal contradictions, mysteries, the silences inside a character that may not even be in dialogue. And I know I tend to be a little bit of a kind of late 18th century steam-driven piece of industrial machinery, puffing and panting away, trying to project something from my intellectual analysis of the script. So it was a glorious journey. And thankfully, we didn't have an on-set drama coach putting us through bonding exercises, because I would have punched them in the head, It happened very organically, and it started, I think, with Emily and myself being aware of looking out for her initially, first day shooting, thinking, there's a lot of people now, and the pressure's on. It's different to Monsieur Lazare. She's carrying 97% of this film. And it just felt like that wasn't necessary to be, but we actually, by default, I suppose, the weather was so cold, we were supposed to start shooting on the back lot and do her arrival into the Huberman household, which probably would have been a good way for all of us to start. But the paint was freezing on the backlot set and peeling off, so we had to go into the kitchen in a studio, and that was good to find the domestic hub of Hans and Rose's marriage and their relationship, and then what would it be like for this grief-stricken, illiterate, motherless girl to come into. If I've given her any kind of accidental advice, it's been, for me, acting is a state of imaginative play. We used to be called players. Remember when the old credits went up? The players. Have fun. And she's always said that in interviews. I did the audition for fun. And I said, write a book about acting for fun. It's a great start.
At my age, I don't know if when I get older I'm going to, but in my age and at school, we don't learn about the Holocaust. I remember reading Anna's Suitcase in 6th grade, and that was it. So when I did the movie, I had to do a lot of research. I remember watching all these movies like Schindler's List, Life is Beautiful, The Pianist, The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, The Reader, and yeah. And also, I think it was great that it was shot in Berlin because everywhere you go, there's always these walls or these posters saying what happened at these different places. And also, I went to see the Berlin Wall and some bomb shelters, so that I could learn a little bit. And also, I went to see the movie 2 weeks ago with my best friend, and she's actually quite smart, and she didn't understand everything. And it's not funny. And then it showed to me how people and kids my age, well, our generation don't know enough about what happened. And that's why I think, some people think it's annoying that we keep on making these movies. But I don't think so because, all the main camp survivors are going to die, at some point. And they're not going to be alive soon. And then I just hope really in 100 years that people remember what happened. Well, first of all, not to let it happen again. And, sort of for a way to remember the people that died and to remember the people that fought for it. So I just think it's really important that we keep on making these movies because my generation have practically no idea what happened. So I really hope that in 100 years we still have these new movies on what happened so that, we keep on, people keep on knowing what happened. It's a huge part of history.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.